Before we go ahead and build a content provider, you wouldn't be out of line to ask, well, why? The simplest answer is that it allows you to share your data safely and efficiently across app boundaries by abstracting the underlying data source, be it SQLite like this, or files, or really anything else, so that other apps can access it without really needing to understand how you stored it. In fact, the calendar, SMS, and contacts APIs work that way, using shared content providers. We're going to share our weather database later, but if you're not planning to expose your app's data, you're probably thinking you can skip this bit, right? Well, almost. In a lot of cases you could, but really shouldn't. For example, in Sunshine we're using SQLite, but you could be storing data in files, dynamic runtime data, or even just a different database library. By using content providers, it's easier for you to potentially switch out the data source and much easier for someone other than you to manage the UI layer code without them having to understand the depths of your data storage implementation. On the UI layer, it's a generic mechanism that returns cursors, the same of those returned by SQLite databases. So if your data layer implementation changes, only your content provider is affected. Still, it's just you writing the code right now, and that's a lot of boilerplate for the sake of following a neat design pattern. Well, keep in mind that as far as the framework is concerned, all data is handled through content providers. So if you want to interact with anything outside of your app, such as sending data to a widget or returning search results from within your app, you'll need a content provider for that too. In fact, that's how the Google Play Store and Gmail widgets work, as well as the ability to get search results from Google Play. Similarly, there's a bunch of APIs designed to optimize the process of syncing and querying data and updating the UI accordingly. And all of them also expect content providers. That includes sync adapters and cursor loaders, which make your app able to efficiently sync with your server, load data in your UI layer, and which include built-in content observers that will update your UI automatically when the underlying data changes. You could, of course, build all of that yourself, but at a certain point the advantage you gained by not writing a content provider to begin with is lost in the process of having to recreate all of the useful classes that utilize it. We'll take a look at publishing your content provider and using loaders to access it efficiently later in this lesson, and we'll explore sync adapters in lesson 6 when we look at doing efficient background updates. But first, Dan is going to show you how to actually build a content provider.